Shalom, Apostle Hawk coming back at you with this truth, giving all praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. And I'm going to entitle this Obadiah, verse 18, and the Hebrew. In other words, I'm going to read Obadiah the first, which is one chapter long, and the 18th verse, and I'm going to go into the Hebrew. In other words, I'm going to go into whatever English word I read. Like if I read Edom, I'm going to go into the Hebrew and read it and explain in the Hebrew. If I come across the word flame, I'm going to actually go into the Hebrew. And it's important to have some knowledge of the Hebrew. You know, we're not saying that you got to be an expert in the Hebrew and you got to speak it fluently, but that would be good too. If you can speak fluent Hebrew, fluent Greek, fluent Latin. Anyway, before I go into that topic, I'm going to say a few words on this guy. Looked like an Edomite. Jesus is the word, and this is the video is entitled "One Body in Yahushai Doesn't Know the Scriptures, Follows Us Through the Parking Lot." Now, this guy who goes by the YouTube name Jesus is the word. He's supposed to be from out of the Dallas area, and I'm wondering why he doesn't go to the main camp, GMS main camp, which is GMS Dallas, where you have I'll name some of the men, leaders. You know, you have Yashawamba, which you call Elder Yashawamba, and Elder, you know, new Elder Yashawamba, and new Elder Ariala, and then you have the other men, you know, that's a part of that leadership that came in almost 10 years ago, or about 9-10 years ago. Some of them came in maybe 7-8 years ago. Anyway, this guy's going to all the different camps, but he forgot about that particular camp. And if he's about defending the gospel, he should go to that camp. Anyway, this video is entitled "One Body in Yahushua Doesn't Know the Scriptures, Follows Us Through the Parking Lot." Now, he makes a statement, all right? This guy that looks like an Edomite. And I'm going to let you listen to what he says.
Satan, the devil, Lucifer,
Didn't Idumeans follow Christ into the wilderness? Where was Christ rebuking them?
and not after Christ.
Did you hear what he said? Let me play it again.
Of Esau, Edom, Idumean, Satan, the devil, Lucifer,
Didn't Idumeans follow Christ into the wilderness? Where was Christ rebuking them?
Okay, I want the scripture where the Idumeans followed the Lord into the wilderness. And I think I know what scripture he's talking about, but I want him to give me the scripture. And if he ever, you know, rolls up on GMS Dallas, the main camp, while those brothers are out there, I mean, they can also ask him the same question. So if he does roll up on y'all ask him that question. Whether he sees, whether he checks this video out that I'm doing and gives me the answer, which I don't think he's gonna do. Anyway, that's what I want to know. Where's the scripture? But I think I know what he's talking about, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, let's go to, and if you notice, I don't make long videos. I just hit the point, because you make a 5-hour video, that's, people don't have that attention span to listen to a 5-hour video. Now, if we're out there in the street speaking, we out there for 3-4 hours or whatever, then you're just seeing the whole speaking, we're not editing it. It's given to you raw when we do the live stream, on the highways and the byways. Anyway, I'm going to go right into Obadiah, which is 1 chapter long and the 18th verse. I'm going to first read in English. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau a stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord have spoken it." Okay, so now let's go back and go into these Hebrew words. Okay, Obadiah. Okay. It says, and the house. Now the word for house is bayath in the Hebrew. Of Jacob. Jacob in the Hebrew is Yaikwab. Or Yaikwab. And if you come across the word Jacob, it starts with the letter J, which the J didn't come about until I believe it was the 1700s. You can look it up for yourself. And it says Jacob, heel holder, or supplanter. It actually means supplanter. Son of Isaac, grandson of Abraham, and father of the 12 patriarchs of the tribes of Israel. So when it says Jacob or Yaikwab, it says in the house of Jacob, it's talking about the children of Israel. Shall be a fire, and the word there is ash, which is a Hebrew way of saying fire. And by the way, in the book History of the History of the American Indians by John Adair, and I happen to have a copy of that book somewhere around here. He says pretty much in that book that he lived and he traded among the so-called American Indians, and he found out through his trading among them and living among them, he came to the conclusion that they would have to be one of the tribes of the children of Israel. And there's a section in the book where he goes into some of the words that they use, which are actually Hebrew words. There's a document out there, and I can look it up. Y'all can look it up, where Cristobal Colon, the so-called Jew from Spain, better known as, also known as Christopher Columbus, when he came to the New World or the Americas, he had a handful of Hebrew translators. So did he know that he was going to encounter Hebrews or Israelites? Anyway, going back to this word ash, just like I said, James Adair said in his book, History of the American Indian, that one of the words that they use for fire is the word ash. I mean, you don't got to take my word for it. You can look it up on your own. Then it says, and the house, or Waha Bayath. Bayath is Hebrew for house, of Joseph, which is in the Hebrew Yahweh, which means he will add. The Yah meaning he, Wasap meaning add, or he will increase. And he did. When you read the story of him being sold into slavery by his brothers, he became great in the land of so-called Egypt. So now you notice it said, in the house of Jacob, and then it goes on, shall be a fire in the house of Joseph, a flame. Now, why did it separate? First of all, Joseph is not a tribe, even though the Joseph can be interchanged with the word with the tribe of Ephraim, because Joseph had two sons. You go into the history, Joseph had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Firstborn son was Manasseh, secondborn was Ephraim. And the word Ephraim, apariah, means fruitful, and Manasseh is made to forget. So even though Manasseh was the firstborn son, the blessing went to his secondborn son, as if he was the firstborn. So the word Joseph can be interchangeable with the tribe of Ephraim. If you go to Numbers, the first chapter in Numbers, if you go to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, the 16th verse, also if you go to Revelation, the 7th chapter, it mentions the tribes, the 12 tribes out of each tribe. There was 12,000 out of each tribe, which made up 144,000. It mentions the tribe of Joseph. And the tribe of Joseph, when you come across the word Joseph in Revelation 7, we know it's talking about the tribe of Ephraim. So why did it separate Jacob from Joseph? Was not Joseph a son of Jacob? Well, Jacob represents the whole house of Israel, but you had a split. And the who led that split was a man by the name of Jeroboam. When Solomon's son Rehoboam sat on the throne, Jeroboam, Ephraimite, he was confronted by the prophet Ahijah, and he tore his garment, part of his garment or his whole garment, and he tore it up into 12 pieces, and he gave him 10 of those pieces. And he said that you're going to be over these 10 tribes. And that's what wound up happening. So there was a split. There was two kingdoms, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. So now when you go back to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, in the 16th verse, it speaks about bringing both those houses together. So, right now we're in the process of these two houses coming together as one to fulfill the prophecy of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, starting from the first verse, that speaks about the children of Israel coming back together. It says in the book of Jeremiah that they both were oppressed together. Judah and Israel, meaning the two kingdoms. So now these two kingdoms coming back together and coming against Esau, it didn't happen yet. It's getting ready to happen. So it says in the house of Joseph a flame, and the word flame is lahaba, which means flame in the Hebrew. Flame, tip of weapon, point, head of spear. So they're going to burn something. It says, and the house of Esau. By the way, when it says the house of Jacob, it's talking about the whole house of Jacob. When it talks about the house of Joseph, it's talking about the whole entire house of Joseph. When they come together, it's going to be one nation, the nation of Israel, or the sons of Israel, or the children of Israel. It says in the house of Esau, which is talking about the whole house, for stubble. What is stubble? When you chop trees down and there's left pieces of wood there, that's stubble. And you can use that for fuel, stubble. And they, the house of Jacob and the house of Joseph, which is the children of Israel, which are the children of Israel, and they, the Israelites, shall kindle. The word here for kindle in the Hebrew is, or kindle, is dalak. And it means to burn, hotly pursue, to burn, to hotly pursue, to kindle, to inflame. It says, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. The them right here is in them and devour them are the Edomites. And the word devour is a Hebrew, and the word in the Hebrew is akal, which literally means to eat. When we say our prayers over the food before we eat, we'll say Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Barak, Hama'akal. Hama'akal is the ma meaning pertaining to eat, which means food. It's another way of saying food. So the word here is akal, which means to eat, devour. Now we're not going to eat these Edomites, all right? So if you take the scripture literally, you might say, well, we're going to eat the We're not going to eat the Edomites. We're going to eat them up with fire. The streets, when two people get into a fight and one guy beats the shit out of the other, you might say, oh, he ate his ass. He ate his ass up. I mean, he beat him down. He devoured them, or devoured him. So it also means to eat, devour, consume. To eat, devour, burn up, feed, to eat, devour, to devour, consume of fire, to devour, slay of the sword, to devour, consume, destroy, pestilence, drought, to devour, of oppression, to be eaten, to be devoured, consumed, of fire. So the fire is going to eat you. You're going to be fuel for the fire, to be wasted, destroyed, of flesh, to cause to eat, feed with, to cause to devour, to feed, to cause to eat, to consume. Like I said, we're not going to eat you Edomites, but that fire that we're going to use is going to eat you. It says, and this right here, this line right here is important. And there shall not be any remaining. The word there is sharayad. Sharayad means remain. So there's not going to be any remaining. Remaining, left, or leftover, remnant, alive, rest. Well, it says there's not going to be any of you left. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh, the Most High, have spoken it. So what's going to happen based upon this verse? There's going to be a point in time in our kingdom that we're going to gather all the Edomites and we're going to dispose of them. And don't get mad at me. Let's say the Most High said, well, he's going to dispose of 80% of them, and we're going to leave 20% of them around. Well, I have no problem with that if the Most High said that. I don't have a problem kicking them in the ass for the rest of eternity and enslaving them. I'm all right with that. But that's not what the scriptures say, man. You got to go by what the scriptures say. Anyway, with that, I'm going to close. If you have any comments, put your comments in the comment section. Make response videos. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.